What's up guys, my name is Daniel and in today's video we're going to be going through integers and variables. But before we begin, I just want to say something. First things first, I am not a UNISA staff member. I'm still a student. You might think differently because based off of the UNISA regalia. I have no association with UNISA. I'm just trying to make students' lives easier by recording these videos and uploading them on my platform and uploading them on YouTube as well. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that I'm basically going through these tutorials. I'm basically going through the study guide. Okay, so what am I talking about? So this is the study guide. This study guide that you have for COS1511, you're given a study guide, whether digitally or physically. And I'm just basically going through all these contents and we will cover all these lessons. So you have a choice. You can either go through the study guide yourself and learn everything yourself, or watch other videos, or you can just watch my videos that will be curated to passing COS1511. I'm trying to teach you guys so that you guys can understand C++, but not just necessarily C++, but understand C++ for this module specifically. Okay, so it'll be videos for COS1511 and COS512, and also second year level modules such as COS2614, I meant to say. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so so one last thing. So I'm using Visual Studio. I'm not using code blocks anymore, guys. It's the same thing. It's an IDE. It does exactly what code blocks does. It's just that I like Visual Studio better because of the nice black theme. I like it because of the colors that it gives you and various options. But whatever I can do here, you can do in code blocks. So you don't have to now install a new IDE because I am installing a new IDE. Okay guys, so let's now begin. Okay, I'm gonna start with integers actually, right? So as you see, if you create a new project, everything, save your files. When you open your file, your main.file, not main.cpp, you have hashtag include iostream using namespace std. I added a new comment here, and here I'll have return 0. Okay, so we're gonna start by discussing what integers are. I mean, you guys are studying sciences, so you do know what integers are. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna print out a few integers on the screen. I'm gonna do a few calculation operations. Okay, so I'm gonna say cout, and I'm gonna cout 1, right? And if I do that, it's very simple. If I run that program, what I'll get is 1 on my screen. So that's very simple. Let's just start multiplying things together. I'm gonna multiply 2 and 5. As I say, 2 multiplied by 5, and I see out that on my console, and I run that. This is what I get. Guys, don't forget to save your projects, right? After writing your line of code, just save your program, and then after that you build and run your program, or you just run your program. Okay, so even if I'm moving a little too fast, I'm just doing it for the sake of the video. Just make sure you save your program after each and every single time you write some code, and then you run in you build and run, or you get what I mean, guys. Okay, so keep doing that just so that you can actually see changes whenever you run your programs. Okay, so those are that is multiplication. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do some different operations. So I'm gonna say 10 minus 5, we should be able to get 5. And then if I say maybe 10 divided by, I don't know, 2, we should get 5. Okay, so let's just run this program, and there we go. So we get 2 times 5 is 10, 10 minus 5 is 5, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, so this works. So basically this is how you can make a little few calculations. In your study guide, however, you have some form of an example that goes like 1 multiplied by 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, and end line over here. And then if I run this, you will see now 120. This is from our old results, which are still here since I didn't comment them out. and then the last line is 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, which is 120. Okay, there we go. So now we can move on, right? So these were basically various calculations. So I like to comment my code out so that things are neat, sitting properly. And then I'm gonna move on to a little bit more advanced things that we can do with numbers, integers, right? So I'm gonna say timers. Okay, so with timers, what we can do is that we can say, okay, clocks, right? See out, there are how many seconds in a minute, end line. So can you see how I made some spaces here? So I can just add a number here. So it starts off as C out, and then bracket bracket, there's a little string here, and then and then I create more brackets just so that I can add a number, and then I close that again, and then I add a string, and then I close that again with an end line. So there's a reason why you can't just do this sort of stuff. Well, you can, but now that's not an integer anymore, but this is an integer. I can change this however way I want. This will make sense the more we write code, okay? So just bear with me for now with this format, okay? So it's a string, it's an integer, and it's a string again, okay? So you can run that just for testing demonstration purposes, and you can see we have there are 60 seconds in a minute. So let's close that, and let's try and get for how many seconds there are in a minute, how many seconds there are in an hour, and so on and so forth, okay? I'm just gonna copy all this code right here, copy, I'm gonna paste it here. So if you don't know how I'm copying or pasting, whenever I'm copying, I just highlight this line and I click Control C, and then I go to the line where I want to paste it, Control V. Okay, so now let's continue. How many seconds are there in an hour? Right, so how you would do this is that you would say 60 times how many seconds are there in a minute? There are 60 seconds in a minute, so you probably go 60 times 60 to get your seconds in an hour. Use multiplication, so the answer is 3600. If you know there are 3600 seconds in an hour. Can you see that, guys? So that's how you make your calculations. And guys, these are examples that are in your study guide, by the way. So let's make another example real quick. This is just for demonstration purposes, just so that you can wrap your head around multiplications and using C out with numbers and stuff like that. Okay, so let's just do one last one. How many seconds are there in a day? So what we would do here, right, is that we already you already know how many seconds there are in an hour. So what you do is that you're gonna take the number of seconds in an hour and multiply that by 24, since there are 24 hours in a day. So you go 60 times 60, right, and then you multiply that by 24. So C++, just like normal mathematical calculators, use BODMAS, right? So but you want to ensure that it'll actually give you an accurate result by using BODMAS rules. So just enclose this in brackets, right? Just enclose this in brackets, and then so that you ensure that this calculation runs first, and then whatever the result of this is, of which we know is 3600, will be then now multiplied by 24, and then they'll give you an answer. So let's run that, and then long and behold, there are 86,400 seconds in a day. Okay, so you might just want to pop out your calculator to verify if that's accurate or not. So I'm gonna say C out end line just to create another line, and then we're gonna move over to variables, because this can get very tedious. You see how we keep inserting numbers and numbers? Imagine if we really wanted to make a complex calculation, this could go and get out of control, guys. Okay, sorry about that. So let's make another comment here and say introduction of variables. Okay, so what are variables? Variables are basically storage units, storage containers. So it's where you have these numbers, right? Now you want to store these numbers somewhere, and then you want to reuse these numbers, right? Instead of manually typing them out over and over again. So let's demonstrate that real quick. I want to create a variable, a storage little location for maybe seconds. So in that I would say integer. It stands for integer, right? We have to tell the computer that this is an int. I'll say integer and I'll say seconds, right? So I've successfully declared my variable, right? Now seconds doesn't have anything, so let's give seconds something. So I'll say seconds is 60 because there's 60 seconds in a minute, right? I'll say seconds is equals to 60, okay, or a minute is equals to 60 seconds, or whatever the case is, right? So you can create a variable and you can initialize it however way you want. So this is basically initializing of a variable. There are other ways of creating variables. So I can say integer my age, right? That's a variable, and my age is an integer variable, okay? And instead of then now on the next line saying my age is equals to something, I can just initialize it right here. I can just say my age is equals to 60, or my age is 100. Maybe I'm an old man, okay? So you can do it like this, immediately initialize it immediately. This is called initializing a variable. Or you can initialize your variable this way, okay? So it doesn't matter. So but I'm just gonna get rid of this for now. I want to demonstrate something more, okay? So I'm gonna store something inside of a variable, okay? So actually I'm just gonna leave this as is, and I'm just gonna create another comment and say let's get input from a user, okay? So all this time we've learned to use cout, okay? All this time we've been using cout. This is to print to the console, but now we actually want to get values from the user, okay? We want the user to type in something that we can use, and then we can use it to do something else, okay? So how do we do that? Let's try and get maybe the user's age, for example. Let's get the user's age. So let's cout insert your age, insert your age, right? I'm gonna say end line, and then we wanna use a cin to get that user's age. But before we do that, let's actually declare a variable called age, right? I'm gonna say integer age. So we declared a variable age. As it stands right now, age doesn't have anything inside of it. So let's get the user to give us their age. So I'm going to say cin, and this is kind of like the opposite of cout, right? And then we're going to say cin, and then we're going to say age. So what happens here is that when this line runs, this whatever they type is going to be stored inside of this age variable. Similarly to what we did here with the seconds and initializing the seconds variable. This is basically the same thing. The only difference is that we're taking the value from the user and actually storing it inside the variable called age. Let me run this and you'll see what actually happens, okay? So as you can see, all that stuff that we had written before just runs because we didn't comment it out or remove it. And then now the program says insert your age, and then there's a cursor, blinking cursor there, ready to take in the age that you wanted to take. So let's just say I say 100, I press enter. The application terminates. Why? Because we didn't do anything with that age. So let's just cout and like show the user what their age is. So I'm gonna say cout, I'm gonna say the age you entered is, and what am I gonna display here? I'm gonna display age, okay? So we're basically asking the user for their age, letting them type in their age, and then we're returning that your age, the age that you entered is whatever the age that they've given us. So I'm going to run that, and so the program runs again. So I'm going to give, say, 20, press enter, and then look at what we get there. The age that you entered is 20. So that's basically how you deal with variables, how you can get a user to give you a value, and then you store it in a variable, and then you learn to use it again later. So let's do a date of birth. Okay, let user give us date of birth, and then we'll use it for something else. Okay, let's first get a date of birth. This is just another example. We'll say integer DOB, so it stands for date of birth. We'll say cout insert quotations, insert your date of birth, exclamation mark, no reason, end line, and then I'm gonna say cin DOB, so inserts into the DOB, and then we're gonna say okay, we're actually gonna use their date of birth to calculate their age. Let the user give us the date of birth and calculate their age. Okay, so how are we gonna calculate their age? So it's very simple calculation. You take the current date and you subtract their date of birth. That's how you get the user's age. Okay, so I'm gonna comment this stuff out here that we did previously, that this is where we were getting the user's age, because it might conflict with what we're doing right now. In fact, I'm just gonna comment out yeah, I'm just gonna comment out everything that I have already over here. I'm just gonna comment, and this is how you just comment everything out. Okay, so, and then now let me see out that calculation and give the user their current age. Okay, so I'm gonna say cout I'm gonna say your current age is I'm gonna make spaces. I'm gonna say current year, which is 2026 minus DOB, and then I'm gonna say end line. Okay, I hope this makes sense, guys. It's a very simple calculation, and we're just returning their current age. Okay, I'm gonna run this, and it says insert your date of birth. So what's running here is that's the cin wants us to insert the DOB. Okay, so I'm gonna say my date of birth is I don't know, 2000, and then it says, oh, okay, 2000, your current age is 26. So that's a very simple calculation that ran there. It's just basically 2026 minus 2000 is 26, of course. So guys, this is basically it. I don't know if you want me to create another example. We're just gonna make an increment there. Let me just make an increment. So DOB based off of this will give us 26 if it's 2026 minus 2000. So let me just see out something. Okay, let me just do this for demonstration purposes. Okay, see out your age next year will be, I'm gonna say oh, okay, actually this won't work. We need to create another variable. So we want to show the user what their age next year will be, but we don't know what their age is currently. So what we can do is that we can store their current age in another variable, and then we can print out that variable. So what I'll do now is that I'm gonna store this stuff inside another variable. So I'm gonna say current age integer, this is another variable, current age is set to the value of 2026, which is the current year, minus DOB. Now that will give us the current age, right? In our previous example, this would be 26, and then now we can print out cout your age next year. Your age next year will be current age plus 1 end line. Okay, I'm gonna uncomment this. So I'm gonna run this, and now there we have our program. It's running. It says insert your date of birth. So I'm gonna say my date of birth is 2000. Enter, and look at what we get here. It says your current age is 26. Your age next year will be 27, and that's just based off of this increment here that we have here. Your current your age next year will be current age plus 1 end line, and that's basically how it goes, guys. Okay, so guys, this is it. This is it for the video. That's integers and variables in a nutshell. Of course, there's a lot more to it, not really that much, but there's a lot of things that you can do, play around with, you know, divisions, play with divisions, play with mods, play with a lot of different operations. But really this is the essence of using integers and variables. Okay, so with the progression of the series, we'll be delving and using these integers and variables more and more as we build more and more complex projects. Okay, but for now this is it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, all right.